it reads, the phoenix is a mythical bird symbolizing rebirth, renewal, immortality, and hope. Okay? It says, famously rising from its own ashes after being consumed by fire, representing transformation from destruction to new life. So, what is this telling us? It's telling us that the phoenix bird represents death and rebirth, resurrection. That's very, very important in this script that's written out for Mr. Michael Jordan. Because let's just finish this out. It says associated with the sun. And again, who else is associated with the sun? Horus, Heru. It says, and power across various cultures like Greek, Egyptian, and Roman mythology, and often linked to Christ's resurrection in Christian traditions. So, the phoenix bird represents death and rebirth, okay, resurrection. Why is this important? We already established Michael Jordan is playing the role of Horus / Heru, correct? What happened? What happened probably about a month after he won his third championship? I really already spelled it out. The phoenix bird represents what? Death and resurrection. What happened about a month after he won his third championship? Let's look at the next slide. You're about to find out why his third championship had to be against the Phoenix Suns. Let's look at the next slide. Watch this. Now, would you look at that? Michael Jordan's father was murdered about a month after MJ's third championship in 1993. Okay. His father died July 23rd. His son wore the number 23. Whew, Lord. The man was murdered on July 23rd in 1993. The Bulls won their third championship against the Phoenix Suns. I believe it was June 20th. If my memory serves me correctly. Okay. And if you really add that up, what would that be? That means his father was murdered. Wouldn't that be 33 days after his third championship? That's diabolical. If they won the championship June 20th, and his father was murdered July 23rd, that's 33 days later. The number 33 represents what? Sacrifice. That's diabolical. They have no shame. Okay? But again, this was after Michael Jordan won against the Phoenix Suns, representing death and rebirth. What does this let us know? If Michael Jordan is playing the role of Horus, that means his father was who? Osiris. This is an Osiris-Horus ritual that's being played out. That's all this is. A death and rebirth. How do we know this represents death and rebirth and is connected to Horus and Osiris? Because right after his father was murdered, what did Michael Jordan do? He retired. He retired from the NBA, which means he metaphorically died from the NBA. Metaphorically, it represented Michael Jordan's death. Okay? That's what's going on here. And I'm going to further prove it. Remember, I always have more. But that's what's going on here. And again, this is just my critique. I could be wrong. Okay? Michael Jordan retired. He retired in October of 1993, shortly after his father was murdered. Okay? That means he was gone from 93 all the way until March of 95. Okay, so he missed basically 2 seasons, really almost a full 2 seasons. Okay, he missed the 94-95 season, basically. Okay, during that time he was gone, you had the year 94 to really prove this is a Horus and Osiris ritual. 94, during the time when Michael Jordan retired, there were movies that came out. Okay, a very popular movie came out the following year during Michael Jordan's retirement. Want to know what that movie was? It was The Lion King. Now y'all looking at me like I'm crazy. Oh, Kanai, but what The Lion King got to do with it? Well, it has everything to do with this, because it's the same story that's being told. Let me ask you something. Michael Jordan, who we say plays the role of Horus, his father dies, then he leaves the NBA, only to come back, right? When you look at The Lion King, Simba, who's playing the role of Horus, his father dies, Mufasa, then he leaves Pride Rock. And then he returns. In the movie, The Lion King, what did Mufasa tell Simba? Everything the light touches is our kingdom. He was referring to the sun. The sun represents Horus. That's the role that Simba played. Mufasa played Osiris. Scar played Set. That's the telling. That's the Lion King. And you see, it's a very similar story. Michael Jordan left the NBA right after his father died. The same way Simba left Pride Rock right after his father died. And they both returned later. But I'm reaching. But I always got more. I got more. Okay? There's another movie that came out the same year. Want to know what that movie was? Cult classic in the black community. It's known as Above the Rim. Above the Rim. Now, a similar situation happened. One of the main characters, who was Tommy Shepard in the movie, his nickname was Shep. How did the movie start? Him and his best friend was playing 101. They were playing 101 basketball. Tommy Shepard, his best friend, actually dies. He falls off the roof. You know, kind of similar to the way Mufasa fell off the cliff. His best friend falls off the cliff, not off the cliff, off a building. Okay? What does Tommy Shepard do? What does Shep do? He leaves. He leaves for years. He leaves his home city. only to return to basically be a help to Kylie Watson, who was the main character in the movie. Okay, Tupac played the role of Birdie in the movie, and you know what Tupac's character Birdie had? He had a scar on his face because he played the same role that Scar played in The Lion King. It was basically the same movie. These movies, a lot of times, they are telling the story of the ancient mysteries of old, from the mystery school systems of old. That's all they're doing. You just got to be able to look at it and see what story is being told. It's very similar to what was going on with Michael Jordan. Okay, all this happened. These two movies came out right after Michael Jordan retired. Okay, that there was a heavy vibration going on with that type of story. Okay, but now that we dealt with that, okay, we dealt with that. Now, during Michael Jordan's retirement, during his retirement, those 2 years, those 2 seasons rather, who won the championships during those 2 seasons when Michael Jordan was retired? It was the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets basically stole 2 I'm not even going to say stole, but they won 2 championships because Michael Jordan had retired. Okay? But why did it have to be the Houston Rockets? Why the Rockets? Because it plays a role in Michael Jordan's script. Rockets were made to go to outer space. Correct? Let me ask you something. With that in mind, let me ask you something. Because this was predictive programming. Michael Jordan returns in March of 1995. Only to lose in the first round of the playoffs to the Orlando Magic. Okay, dealing with Florida Enlightenment. But that summer of 1995, what was he doing? Now remember, the Houston Rockets won the 2 years he retired. Rockets go to space. What did Michael Jordan do summer of 95 when he had returned to the NBA? Let's look at the next slide. And here you have it. Michael Jordan filmed Space Jam during the off-season, summer of 1995, which was the year he returned to the NBA. Space Jam was released in November of 1996 when Michael Jordan was 33 years old. Do you not see the storyline? Do you not see the script? Why was it the Houston Rockets that had to win during the time that Michael Jordan left the NBA? Why the Houston Rockets? Houston, we have a problem, right? This was a predictive programming because Michael Jordan was about to play in a movie known as Space Jam. Okay, and if you look at the cover of the movie, the promotional poster, notice it's Michael Jordan's right eye that's highlighted. Okay, the right eye of Horus, it represents the sun when you do your research. Okay, and look, it's Bugs Bunny left eye. The left eye of Horus represents the moon. Okay, but they had to do Michael Jordan's right eye because he's closely associated with the sun. Remember the sun disk. Okay. And 2, he had to be associated with Bugs Bunny because he's going down the rabbit hole. This movie was ritualistic for him. He's going down the rabbit hole in this movie. That's literally how he got to Looney Tune Land when you actually watch the movie. Okay. But when you look at this particular movie, Looney Tune Land is basically the spirit realm. Okay. And he had to get there. What it represents is his third eye, the pineal gland. That's why only one of his eyes has to be highlighted here. It represents his third eye, the pineal gland, mind activation. I'm going to prove that. But it represents mind activation. It's no different from Dorothy in Wizard of Oz. Okay? Because Oz represented her pineal gland, her subconscious mind. Okay, that's why when the way she got back to Kansas, Glinda, the Witch of the North, noticed she was waving the wand, her magic wand, behind Dorothy's head. Because all of this was in her subconscious mind. She had to open up her third eye to get to that spiritual realm. But the rabbit hole for Dorothy was what? It was the whirlwind, the tornado. Same story. Okay? Now, if you think I'm reaching, you really think I'm reaching with that, and Looney Tune doesn't represent Michael Jordan's subconscious mind, all of this, if I'm just reaching, okay, let me ask y'all something, because I always got more. Which Air Jordans did Michael Jordan actually wear in the Space Jam movie? There were a lot of shoes that were in the movie. Okay, but the ones he actually wore in the movie. Now, I'm not talking about clips from when he was in the NBA that they put in the movie. I'm talking about him actually filming the movie. Which Air Jordans were made popular because of this movie? It was the Air Jordan 9s and the Air Jordan 11s, known as the Space Jams. Look at the two numbers. 9-11. And you mean to tell me that was just by happenstance? 9-11. Please make a mental note of that, because that is very important towards the end of this series. We're going to deal with that. But yes, 9/11. Now, these are the two shoes he actually wore. Okay. Now, at the end of the movie and somewhere in the middle of the movie, you did have the Air Jordan 10s, which were showcased, but he didn't actually wear them. Okay. At the end of the movie, they show a clip of him returning to the Chicago Bulls, and he had the Chicago 10s on, but he didn't actually wear them in the movie. These are the two shoes he actually wore in the movie. The 9s and the 11s. Okay. Now that we're dealing with the Space Jam 11s, let's look at the next slide. Let's see if I'm still reaching. Watch this. Now, we know when Michael Jordan returned to the NBA, he actually had, instead of the number 23, the number 45 was actually placed on the back of the Space Jam 11s, right? Because his number changed for a short period of time. He started wearing the number 45, right? But he had the number 45 on the back of the Jordan 11s, right? Anybody got a calculator? What's 4 plus 5? 4 plus 5 equals 9. And these are the Jordan 11s. 9, 11. I told you I always got more. I told you. This was not by happenstance. Okay, this was on purpose because this plays a role in the script. We're going to get to this. We're going to get to it towards the end of this series. The 9/11. Let me not jump the gun. Okay. But with that, let's move forward. So here we have the very next team, which was in 1996, the very next team that Michael Jordan beat to win his 4th NBA championship was the Seattle Supersonics. Right? How does this play a role in the script? Because it was already written. I can't really say, well, I guess you can kind of say predictive programming, but why did he have to win against the Seattle Supersonics the same year that the movie Space Jam came out? Well, what is the logo for the Seattle Supersonics? Well, let's move forward. Let's take a look. Watch this. So here is the logo for the Seattle Supersonics. And what that is in the middle is what's known as Seattle's Space Needle. Space Needle. Again, Michael Jordan just played in the movie Space Jam. I mean, they're putting the script right in front of our eyes. The same year that Michael Jordan wins the championship against the Seattle Supersonics, their logo is a space needle. Later that year, the movie Space Jam comes out in November of 96. And you mean to tell me that that's a coincidence? This was already written out for him. Okay? But, of course, this is just my critique. I could be wrong. Okay? So with that, let's move forward. So the next team that Michael Jordan defeats to win both his 5th and 6th championship is none other than the Utah Jazz. It's the last team he'll ever play in the NBA Finals, both seasons, 97 and 98. Okay? Why is this important? Allow me to explain. The Utah Jazz, where do they play at? That's number one. Let's take a look. Let's look at the next slide. Watch this. Let's bring it full circle here. Well, before we even do that, let's look at a famous photo from the 1998 finals. This is what was known as the last shot. And these photographers, man, they good. Because a lot of times the photographers, even them, they are within the craft. They know to take pictures at specific moments from specific angles. This is the last shot. The last shot he ever took with the Chicago Bulls. It was the game-winning shot, really. And the photographer made sure that they got a still shot of him shooting with 6.6 seconds left on the clock, with him wearing the number 23. 2 times 3, of course, is 6. This is a play on 666. Again, the last game of the second three-peat. Okay? Remember the end of the first three-peat, he scored 666 points in the NBA playoffs. That was at the end of the first three-peat. Well, this is the last shot, a still shot of the last shot, and it's still a play on 666. You really can't make this up. Okay. Let's move forward. Let's get the answer to the question. Where do the Utah Jazz play at? Their arena. Where is it located? Because this is where Michael Jordan ended his Bulls career, which is very important. Watch this. And the slide reads, let's see, the Utah Jazz are an American professional basketball team based in Salt Lake City. Allow me to repeat that part. The Utah Jazz are an American professional basketball team based in Salt Lake City. Let's pause. Salt Lake City. They're still dealing with water. It's still dealing with water. Salt Lake City. Remember the beginning of his championship reign started with a team associated with water. The end of his championship reign is still dealing with a team that's associated with water. And you mean to tell me that I'm still reaching? That water is not in some way a trigger for Michael Jordan? But let's look at something else. Okay, let's look at something else. What's the name of the arena or the stadium that they play in? It's the Delta Center. All of this is important. Now I'm really about to bring it full circle. Okay, so this means that Michael Jordan won his 6th NBA championship at the Delta Center in Salt Lake City. 6th NBA championship at the Delta Center. Let's bring it full circle. All of this ties back to one of his original handlers, his college coach, a Mr. Dean Smith. What am I talking about? Well, watch this. Let's take a look. Now, here's the name of another fraternity. Okay, now this is actually the fraternity that Michael Jordan's college coach, Dean Smith, this is the fraternity that he pledged. Phi Gamma Delta. Let's read. It says Phi Gamma Delta, commonly known as Phi Gam, and sometimes written as Fiji, is a North American social fraternity with 139 active chapters and 13 colonies across the United States and Canada. It was founded at Jefferson College, Pennsylvania in 1848. Also with Phi Kappa Psi, Phi Gamma Delta forms half of the Jefferson duo. Since its founding, the fraternity has initiated more than 211,000 brothers. Okay. So now, let's look at the next slide. Here's where it gets interesting. This is where I'm going to bring it full circle. How this connects to Michael Jordan's final NBA game with the Chicago Bulls playing against the Utah Jazz. Watch this. Let's look at the next slide. So here we have the color scheme for this particular fraternity, Phi Gamma Delta. Look at the color scheme. The color scheme is royal purple and white. Let me ask y'all something. What was the color scheme for the Utah Jazz at that particular time? Yeah, it was the same colors, purple and white. Yeah. But this is just scratching the surface. Let me show you where it really gets scary. Watch this. Let's get some more information on this particular fraternity. Let's look at the next slide. the next slide reads, Phi Gamma Delta was founded on April 22nd, 1848 at Jefferson College in Canonsburg, Pennsylvania. 6 students gathered in a dormitory room known by the students as Fort Armstrong to establish a secret society. Now watch this. The society they formed was initially called the Delta Association. Allow me to repeat that part. The society that they formed was initially called the Delta Association. Let's pause right there. What is the name of the arena in Salt Lake City where the Utah Jazz play, where Michael Jordan won his final championship? Oh yeah, it's the Delta Center. Okay. What number championship did Michael Jordan win at the Delta Center? It was his 6th championship. With that in mind, let's continue. It says the founders referred to the members as the Immortal Six. Allow me to repeat that part. The founders referred to the members as the Immortal Six. Pause right there. Let me ask the question again. What number championship did Michael Jordan win at the Delta Center? It was his 6th championship. So Michael Jordan won his Immortal Six at the Delta Center. And why would it be known as the Immortal Six for him? Because that's one of the main talking points people use, myself included, when arguing that Michael Jordan is the best to ever do it. What do most people automatically go to? He has 6 rings. And that's how you know it's a play on the same concept, the Immortal Six, because there's other players in the quote-unquote GOAT conversation that has more championships than Michael Jordan. But yet we always look at Michael Jordan has 6 rings because that's a play on the Immortal Six. This goes all the way back to really paying homage to his college coach, Dean Smith, who pledged Phi Gamma Delta. Yes. All of this is a part of Michael Jordan's script. Okay, make no mistake about it. All right? But anyway, that's going to bring us to the end of part 4 in this particular video series known as Michael Jordan, Horus, Heru. Okay, we went down a deep rabbit hole in this one. Okay, in parts 3 and 4, we went down a deep rabbit hole. We exposed a lot, and we actually saw how Michael Jordan's life really does seem to be scripted. Now, of course, this is just my critique. I could be wrong, but there was a lot of predictive programming, a lot of things that just lined up too perfectly that his NBA career basically told a story as if it was a script that was written for him, as far as my critique goes. Okay? But I believe there will be one more part, which is going to be part 5. Okay? Almost done with this series. We're going to wrap it up. Okay? And I'm very excited about that. Okay? So, with that, and as always, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh, which is the name of the Heavenly Father. And I do so by Hashem, which means in the name of Yahweh Shai, which is the name of the only begotten Son of the Heavenly Father, whom the world knows as Jesus Christ. And I want to thank all you brothers and sisters for tuning in I hope this video was informative and edifying. And until next time, Shalom family, and I'll see you in part 5.